Today I wanted to share a testimony of how God packed my business with customers after I repented for some idolatry that I accidentally stepped into. And this is basically a testimonial about some miraculous things that God did when I owned and operated a Christian bookstore called River of God Christian Bookstore. It was located on Route 66 in Flagstaff, Arizona. Anyway, the bookstore was started as a regular retail Christian bookstore. We bought at wholesale, we sold at retail. That went on for about a year or so. And then one day, when I was at a church service and I was singing a worship song, I heard in my head a message from God, which was to sell everything at cost and let people give as they purpose in their hearts. I didn't enter into that message for a few months for a variety of reasons. But when I didn't enter into it, I had a Jonah's experience basically, and I sat in the belly of a whale, but it was called River of God Christian Bookstore, and we had practically no customers while I waited to enter into, or why God waited for me to enter into His Word. When I did enter into His Word, He immediately flooded the store with customers. But this is really a testimony. What I wanted to share today in this video is really a testimony about what God did after I started to sell at cost. Buying at wholesale, selling at wholesale. And so the second part of God's word was let people give as they purpose in their hearts. Anyway, I noticed that Christians seem to buy more Christian gifts than Christian books. And I had bought a whole bunch of Christian books to bless people when I first opened up the store. And anyway, I had a lot of money tied up in books. And the store was funded by a supernatural provision. So we did operate debt-free the whole time. But anyway, I wanted to take a lot of those books which weren't selling and return them to the distributor and get some store credit to buy some more gifts. Because I thought if we get more gifts, people will buy more gifts. And if people are happy and buying more gifts, then maybe we'll get more donations and the store will continue on for a long time. Anyway, it took us, I never prayed about whether or not the book should be returned. It was my own wisdom. And so one of my employees, Brian, and I started to take books off the shelf and box them up. And it took us a couple of days to do this. And while we were doing it, the store just kind of was like a ghost town. There was hardly anybody coming in, which was okay. We were busy boxing up books. And anyway, after we got them all boxed up, I faxed the list of books to be returned to the distributor to get a return authorization. This was on day 2, and I went to lunch. A couple of doors down was a Fry's grocery store, and as I approached the grocery store while I was still in the middle of the parking lot, I heard God speak to me. Again, it wasn't the audible voice of God, it was in my head, but I heard God clearly say, who are you going to serve? Man, ministry, money, or me? And God said to me, when you bought those books the first time around, you bought them with the right attitude to bless people. Now you're trying to return them to please people so that you can get more money to keep the ministry going. And God just said to me, I was into idolatry, and the 3 forms of idolatry that I accidentally stepped into was trying to please man, trying to serve man, trying to get more money. Money became kind of an idol, and trying to, the ministry became an idol. Anyway, I repented in the parking lot and, told God that if He didn't want those books to be returned, just make them unreturnable. And I went and got some lunch in the delicatessen at Fry's grocery store. And within about a half hour, 45 minutes, I returned to the store. And Brian, one of my employees, was there, and he asked me what happened while you were gone, because when I returned to the store was flooded with people. It was our second busiest day ever, and it was in the middle of the year, and it was in the middle of the work week, and we had our second busiest day ever. And I told Brian how God had rebuked me and told me that I had fallen into idolatry and how I had repented in the parking lot. And I told God that, if He didn't want me to return those books, just make them unreturnable. Well, anyway, I found out shortly thereafter that almost all of those books the distributor would not take back for store credit. So I just decided to keep all the books and not return anything. Anyway, person after person kept coming in the store asking for books and asking for the books that had been on the shelf for over a year. and where they had just had no interest in the books before. And now they were asking for them. And it was kind of funny, actually. It was kind of like God saying, see what I can do. And we had to keep going into the back room and digging through the boxes to find these books, which we knew we had in stock, but now they're no longer on the shelf. So anyway, I hope this video encourages those who watch it. It really was an amazing thing to see how God could just bless a business, a ministry, whatever, with just bless it abundantly and so quickly when you start doing things God's way. And it's so easy when you're involved in ministry to take your eyes off of God and just start trying to please people or trying to get more money, just to keep the ministry going because the ministry was doing a good thing. But God doesn't want us to make a ministry into an idol. He wants us to serve Him and not to serve a ministry or people in a idolatrous way. He wants us to bless people and help people, but He doesn't want people to be our God. He doesn't want people. He doesn't want us to look to people for provision. He wants us to always look to Him to be our provider. So, anyway, I just thought I'd share this because I'm probably not the only one who has fallen into idolatry in an attempt to do a good thing, in an attempt to keep a ministry growing and flourishing. So that's it.